Oh, everybody. Yeah. Iloraya Pise. Iloraya Pise.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes. We are starting. Hello, good evening.
Go ahead. Can you go ahead? Yeah, I'll mute it. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay.
Can
Yes.
you go ahead?
Okay. Good. It has come up. Good evening, everyone. It is an honor and a privilege, one I do not take lightly, for me to welcome you to tonight's edition of our weekly clinical presentations. Consistently now, for almost 2 years, we have walked the talk at CIPAN, and tonight's edition, though special with a PSN presidential aspirant, but we are not losing sight of the fact that we are clinical pharmacists. So his presentation is going to be on clinical pharmacy. Before I go far, let's start with an opening prayer to be led by Dr. Adibambo Akimbile, CIPAN National Publicity Officer. Dr. Akimbile, can you please unmute yourself?
Heavenly Father, we appreciate you because you are our God. We bless your holy name for our meeting tonight. We commit the meeting to able hands that it take absolute control in Jesus' name. As we go, we pray that the speaker shall speak from the throne of grace, and every heart that will hear even the voice of his word. The power to be able to run, even with the vision of CIPAN, we shall grant unto them, and your name shall be glorified. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen.
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 Thank you, Dr. Akimbile. Thank you for that. Amen. You are welcome back to the presentation proper. Our guest speaker today is Dr. Obaloluwa Adeniyi Ojo. But before I call on him, let me quickly have some protocol and see who are online. We have Professor Cyril Lucifo. You are welcome, sir. I have Professor Bola Olaiwola. I have Dr. Danjuma Baba, Dr. Adeoye Waid, and all others. From Hadekupola, you are welcome, sir. I saw Professor Teresa Pounds. Ma, you are most welcome. You are always encouraging us. So let me start. I will recognize people as they come in. So our presenter for today, as I said, is Dr. Obaloluwa Adeniyi Ojo. He's a PSN presidential aspirant at the upcoming conference. He started his pharmacy career as a grade 1 pharmacist at OAUTHC, that's Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital Complex in Osun State. He has worked with Roche Nigeria Limited as a marketing manager, a group product manager, a product manager, an area manager, a senior medical rep, and a medical rep. He has worked with Coca-Cola Nigeria Limited. He was a marketing development manager there, an operation manager, an area manager in charge of the North, a former managing director, Ultra Logistic Company Limited. He's the founder and CEO of Merit Healthcare Limited. He has attended several training courses. He's all there. He's a former chairman of the Association of Industrial Pharmacists. I don't want to put the head. He's also a fellow of the West Africa Postgraduate College of Pharmacists, a fellow of PSN, a pastor, a mentor to many pharmacists, and is happily married to Mrs. Bridget Ojo with 5 children. Dr. Lulu Ojo, you are most welcome. His topic for today is maximizing the clinical pharmacist knowledge and skills for effective service delivery in Nigeria's health sector. Dr. Lulu Ojo. Dr. Lulu Ojo, please unmute yourself. You will have to unmute. I just checked the audio. Dr. Ibrahim, can you please help?
No, it's a co-host. He can unmute himself.
Dr. Lulu Ojo, please unmute yourself. I hope he has been hearing us all along. Please excuse me. Let me call him. Dr. Ibrahim.
Yes.
Dr. Ibrahim, he said he's telling him he cannot unmute himself.
Okay. Let him try now.
Okay. Okay, he has been unmuted now.
Okay.
Okay. Sir, okay. You should be able to come in now, Dr. Ojo, please. He's been unmuted.
Okay.
Hello. Sir. You can start, sir. Yes. Over to you. You can start, sir. Are we hearing him? Is it me?
No.
He said he's starting, but I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah, maybe the audio is not working. His audio is not working. I don't know.
Can he just leave and come in again?
Yes, maybe. Or to check his network, the audio is not checking at all. Okay. He has on his video.
He has on his video, okay. So yeah, hello, sir. Both audio and video are on. Do I have to call him again?
Yes, it has to do with the network. Dr. Ibrahim, can we have the video? No, we cannot have it now. I have to download this again.
Okay, don't worry then. Let's hope Dr. Lulu Ojo will be true soon. We are sorry, everyone. He's trying to fix the problem. Let me just tell him to. The issue is being resolved.
Okay.
He has left. He's trying.
Because
He has left. He's trying to join back. I was reading what's on the chat room. Prof was saying something about using two phones, that maybe you should use one.
so you can unmute yourself now.
So he's
So he
trying
has
to
joined back.
Yes, yes, he has joined back now. Okay.
Yes, he unmute. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Good now.
So Dr. Lunojo, can you? Hello, sir. Are you in fully? Hello, sir. Yes, yes. I think we are getting there.
Yes, yes.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Very
yes.
good. We can hear you,
Yes,
sir.
yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, a round of
Thank you so
applause.
much.
Yes, sir.
So let me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank God. Thank God. Good evening, distinguished colleagues.
Good evening.
Let me say I'm delighted to make this presentation. It's a pity that network is doing this, but I will seize the moment before anything else happens. The topic is maximizing the clinical pharmacist knowledge and skills for effective service delivery. Let me state upfront that the formation of the Clinical Pharmacist Association of Nigeria is one of the best things that has happened to pharmacy in Nigeria of recent.
Sir, you may need to change
and I want to commend the
position a bit. Probably.
You are not hearing me again?
We are
You
hearing
are not
you.
hearing me?
We are hearing you. Please go ahead, sir.
Aha. So, okay. It's all right. Please let me just go to the next slide. I will skip the protocol so that I won't tempt the network again.
Okay.
So Dr. Ibrahim, next slide, please.
Okay, I'll come in. Let me. Sorry, sir. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Just go on.
Thank you. Next slide. Within the time allotted, I will be looking at the topic from the point of the clinical pharmacist. No, sorry, you're moving too much. Please, can you go to the second slide?
The previous slide, sir. Okay.
Can you please go to the second slide? Thank you. Within the time, we'll be talking, looking at the topic, maximizing the knowledge and skill of the clinical pharmacist with the following the following outline. We look at the health sector role. I mean, the services that is expected to be delivered, the responsibility of a clinical pharmacist and the core skill set that is expected or that a clinical pharmacist should have. And what do we need to do to maximize the knowledge and skill of a clinical pharmacist for effective service delivery? Then we look at the role, sort, and responsibility. Who need to do what in order to ensure that we can actually maximize this skill and knowledge? Next slide, please. Yes, in preparing this slide, I come across the session, which is good, and I say I should let you know. I sincerely hope after we have finished everything about the election, I can actually develop this presentation more, because by giving the topic to me, I've seen that we have actually stumbled on a very, very important topic, which we should develop. I wrote from this group that the more I get to know you, and you in this instance is the clinical pharmacist, the more I'm convinced that you were the sole inspiration behind many medications. I think this is what we're looking for. This is what we want, for people to know that the pharmacist is the inspiration behind the medication that they use, which restore health, which promote health. And another one is this, that the practice of medicine is easy since pharmacy does everything. It is when the patient takes the drug that all the services of the professional the services are translated into something of tangible benefit to the patient. It is when the drug is taken that everything combined actually becomes something of tangible benefit to the patient. So now I stumbled on this again, and that is why I brought it up. When we categorize the clinical pharmacist, we could actually look at three stages. One, the learning stage, that is transition from the body of knowledge that you have, that you got a certificate for that this is a pharmacist, and now transitioning it into skill and competencies that can make you deliver something to the patient. And this is for pharmacists that have between 0 to 5 years of post-qualification experience. Then you have the applied stage. See, at this point, the transition is complete, and the pharmacist is able, the clinical pharmacist is now able to translate the knowledge it has with the competencies acquired and the skill acquired and experience acquired into something that can now be felt by the team members and by the patient, that is the object or the final bus stop of what our services should be. Then the stage 3 is the one that is called creative pharmacist. And this will be for pharmacists that are 10 years post-qualification and above. And when we are talking about creativity, here we're mentioning generating new ideas, new concepts, new philosophy, new ways of doing things. And innovation will now relate to redefining the new ideas, breaking it down into its element, into its pieces, refining it, and be able to execute it. So it is expected that the stage 3 pharmacist is a creative pharmacist who's able to generate new idea, refine it, redefine it, and execute. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Sorry, it's
Dr. Ibrahim.
Yes, sorry, it's hanging. Let me go back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a pity that I can't do it from here myself.
Yeah, sorry. Let me try to something. My machine.
Yes, next slide. Okay, the health sector role, that is the service delivery that we are talking about. What was the sector created for? What's the health of having the sector? Why do we need it, and why should it be there? And I use WHO definition to guide us here. He said the WHO defined the health sector as the set of values, standard, institution, and actors, that distribute and consume goods and services whose principal and exclusive objective are to safeguard the health of individual or population, that everything that we have, values, standard, institution, all these things that we use, all the things that we distribute, all the things that we consume, the services we render, they are meant to safeguard the health of individuals and population. And these activities and of the institution and actors are designed to prevent and control disease, and conduct health research and training to document our knowledge, to have more things that we can be happy with, that we can say this is the function of the health sector. Now, a very good healthcare system, let me even remove the adjective very. A good healthcare system is important to reduce the burden on families and contribute to national growth. Because once they say a healthy nation is a wealthy nation, and it has been proved that a good healthcare system ensures a very strong economy. And the OECD observer study actually show that a mere 10% increase in life expectancy ensures an economic growth of around 0.4% per year. That is, keeping our people healthy alone can grow our economy because the productivity is sustained. Productivity can increase. And let me have a little digression here. Nigeria, where we are struggling with our economy, if we look at the pharmaceutical sector, if we focus and concentrate on the pharmaceutical sector, we can actually have something good and bail ourselves out of the poverty cycle that we have been circulating for a very long time. And I put it here, the 10 pharmaceutical companies in the world, I mentioned their name, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and all the one for us to understand. In 2020, they have a combined turnover of $426.57 billion. And that is about 226 trillion naira. Look at 226 trillion naira and compare it to our 2020 budget of 9 trillion naira. That means that the 10 companies in the pharmaceutical sector actually have 25 times more our budget as a country. And here we have a country of 212 million people. We have one of the highest potential demand base in the world. That is why we are so attracted to other economy. That is why companies are coming here despite our challenges, despite every problem that we say we have. So if this country will focus on the pharmaceutical sector, we can actually grow our economy. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. So the responsibilities of a clinical pharmacist, you know all this, and we will not waste so much time on it. But it is important for you to know that everything revolves around the patient, knowing the status of the patient, knowing the appropriateness and effectiveness of his medication, recognize the untreated problem that need to be resolved so that the patient will not be coming back, and following up with the patient to know the progress that is making, and relate with other healthcare systems, particularly the physician. All the purpose is to get the best for the patient. We need to advise and counsel the patient on the best way to take maximum advantage of the medication that he has gotten, and support the healthcare system effort, the team effort, to ensure that we are improving on our work and other things that the patient need to do in order to get on well. And importantly, particularly for our colleagues in the community pharmacy, to refer the patient to physician when necessary. Next slide. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. Now, the core skill of a clinical pharmacist. And when we say core skill, it's like a shopping list. This is the one that you have had, or the one that you must have. And it's a long list here. But number one is the therapeutic knowledge. You are the subject matter expert. And this is something that we need to build on, that we are the subject matter expert. We are the one who are trained in the pharmacological basis of therapeutics. And it must be something, it's an uncompromising stand that each one of us must take, that I'm working as a clinical pharmacist, my therapeutic knowledge must be strong. Then solving skill, both clinical problem and other problems that surround the work environment, that surround the practice environment. Decision-making ability, understanding the regulations, because you need to know, very important as a pharmacist, our profession is highly regulated, so we must know that regulation. Strong attention to detail. We used to say that when a surgeon kills, he kills one at a time. But a pharmacist in the production lab, when he kills in batches, and that batch can be as high as 6,000, depending on the size of the batch concerned. So we need to pay strong attention to detail. Nothing must be done in a hurry, must not be done, because right from school, we have been told that ours is a precision science. The margin of error is very little. So that is why paying attention to detail is very important. IT skill, we need to be very competent in computer operations, in software and other things that are, especially now that COVID-19 has changed the way we're doing things. Many more things that are core skill of a pharmacist: leadership, empathy, excellent verbal communication, because the knowledge you have must be translated, to benefit to the patient, and you need to communicate it in a way that the patient will understand. So you must be able to articulate your position, your point, so that the patient can understand what you are talking about. Clear focus on quality and counseling abilities, very important. Quality at time. Quality must be built into what everything that we do, right from production, to even handling the patient, the labeling and all sorts of things. It must be quality. Multitasking, very important. Thank God we have a very versatile education, and this versatility must be transferred into our practice in being multitasking. Adaptability, critical thinking. I used to tell people, if you go to work that does not challenge, it doesn't challenge you, the work does not challenge you, you're in the wrong place. Because the work needs to challenge you, because it is that challenge that brings out the best in you, that make you to use your brain. And the more you use your brain, the more it develops and becomes a reservoir of problem-solving system. So critical thinking is very important. Patience, we need to have it. But above all, professionalism. Because when you talk about a profession, you're talking about an individual that has succumbed or has surrendered his sovereignty to a set of rules, standards. Even starting from your dressing, starting from the way you talk, the way you relate to people. So professionalism is a core skill that a clinical pharmacist must have. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Sorry, let me go back.
Yeah.
You.
Sorry.
Just hold on, please.
Okay. All right. While we are waiting for the slide to come up, the next topic is maximizing, the skill of the pharmacist for effective service delivery. And when we talk about maximizing or maximization, it's talking about the process of making something as great in amount, in size, or importance as it can be. That is what the flow is, the word is. That yes, this man the skill, he has the knowledge, but how can we, make this knowledge and skill to be much bigger and to cover much a wider spectrum and to deliver more value, in the practice environment. And I use a scenario here which was used in Israel. And I see that it's actually applied to our situation, but it's by no means exhaustive. The first one is having an advanced degree. And I must say that Nigerian pharmacists have done so very well in this. I was once a facilitator in the West African postgraduate pharmacists. And I see the number of, to come and add more to their knowledge. And I think to me, that is very important. It is important because we are living in an environment that is not growing. But rather than grow, it is going down the side. The graph is going down. So what you must do is to stay above your environment. And one of the things that you need to do to stay above that environment is to acquire more knowledge and more skill. And these are the things that we need to do as individual pharmacists. So we need to acquire more knowledge through degrees that are compatible with the skills required. We have spoken about those skills that you need. So if, for instance, your IT skill is not good, why don't you find a way to acquire knowledge on that through attending training or some other things that you need to do. Now, residency. For a very long time, we've been working on this, and I think we need it. And I'm sure that the Lord will help us to pursue it and get it, that our people can do residency. Because what residency provide or offer is acquisition and refinement of skills. Because you keep on doing this thing every time, then it becomes part of you. It becomes part of you, and this is what residency actually offers. The next one is credentialing. What does this mean? That when we talk about clinical pharmacy, it must be recognized as a specialty. Just like you have many specialty, particularly with our medical colleagues, then the clinical pharmacy, since we are acquiring degree, it must be so much recognized as a specialty. Supply, that is, we have enough number to perform the task. If the task of a clinical pharmacy is well defined, like we have defined it, in responsibility, then must have enough number to perform it. Thank God that we are having more schools of pharmacy, and I pray and hope that more of our younger colleagues will take into clinical pharmacy practice so that we can have more people that will deliver pharmaceutical care to Nigerians so that we can get that recognition that we have always been asking for. The next one is the scope of practice. You can't you can't be working under an atmosphere of fear. If someone needs vaccine in my pharmacy and I give it, maybe somebody is coming to come and do this or that. So there must be a scope that is legal, legal permission to practice independently. hello, to practice and to even prescribe, some drugs the patient may need without any fear that somebody is going to disturb you. Then demand here, speak to the employer, either in the pharmacy, in the hospital, in the clinics, in the NGOs, or some other places where the services of a clinical pharmacy is needed. Then we must have people asking for it. We need clinical pharmacists. So these are the ways that we can actually get the best out of the skill of a clinical pharmacist. Finally, we talk about acceptance. Acceptance of role by others. Not the kind of thing that we have here that everything that comes as a benefit to the pharmacist is opposed by our colleagues, which is not supposed to be. So to maximize this skill, we need acceptance by others. And I know we can get it. We can get it because it's part of the skill that we need. Ability to influence others. Yeah, enhancing the performance and influencing it is one of the things that we need to develop for us to be able to influence our other colleagues to accept the role of the clinical pharmacist. Next slide, please.
Sorry, another problem. Let me go back.
Yeah, we're waiting for our dear Ibrahim. The new slide is talking to, it's all right, it's talking to rule, sort, and responsibilities. And I brought this thing here that once we have said, we know what the skills are, we know what we need to do in order to maximize it, then the question is, how do we do it? Who are the people that need to do one thing or the other in order for us to get that which we want? And I want to say that two parties in this. The first party is the clinical pharmacist himself. And I say here, your personal development rests squarely on you. It is you. When I joined commercial business for the first time, my first commercial manager told me, look, my friend, you are your own property and you must find a way to stay alive. That was in 1988. Till date, I don't forget. And what he's saying is that you have responsibility for your personal development. And this is one thing that I want our people to know. We Lamentation, somebody was telling us yesterday that the book of Lamentation was not written for physicists. So we should stop lamenting. And like I've told somebody that, look, complaining is not something that is desirable. Because when you complain, 80% of the people that you are complaining to, they are not hearing you because they have their own problem. And the worst case is that the remaining 20%, they are actually happy that you have the problem. So you don't get anything by complaining. All we need to do is take action. And the very first action here in maximizing the skill of the pharmacist is for you to take responsibility for yourself. Then the other side is government and leaders of health institutions. For government, the policy holds the key to institutional development and creation of an environment that is conducive for systemic growth. I wonder, and I ask myself, what offense have I committed, for joining the hospital system such that I cannot realize my potential? I cannot move to the highest level in that system that I've joined. If a pharmacist can become chairman of a bank, if a pharmacist can become MD of a bank, if a pharmacist can become MD of companies here and there, why can't a pharmacist become the chief medical director or chairman medical advisory committee or take other important roles within the system? So it's government policy that we have in order to open up the space and let people grow according to their potential. Leadership or attitudes of the leaders of the various institutions. We know, despite whatever it is, yes, we have lean and sort of thing, but even that lean resources that we have, the question we need to ask is that, how do we use it? How do we use it? And that is where leadership comes in. I'm actually writing an article that the health sector needs a common sense leadership. A leader that realizes that things are supposed to be done in a proper way. Therefore, my dear colleagues, these are the major things that I need to discuss with you on maximizing the clinical pharmacist knowledge, skill, and experience, and everything that he has. Thank you very much for listening to me. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And thank you for keeping to the time too. It's a very expensive session. I know people are that shortly. Let me go through the participant list and see who we have here, just to recognize some few people while you are getting your questions ready. I can see from Mrs. Wale Oladigbolu, the new HCPN chairman. I think I'm right. I saw Professor Reozolua from Ogundipe, the HOD of the OAUTHC, Dr. Maureen Wafo, the Vice President South PSN, Dr. Ejiro Foyibo, Dr. Madus, Bank Chairman, Professor Emu Afolabi, Professor Joda, Pharmacist Affairs. I recognize everyone. So let's move on to the questions. Can we please have our hands up? We have reached the maximum limit of 100, but the YouTube link has been shared. Professor Teresa Pounds, ma, please unmute yourself, ma. Dr. Ibrahim, can you please unmute? Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I know it's evening.
Good evening,
in Nigeria.
Yes,
good evening. I wanted to at least let you guys know I'm on the call, and I want to really, as you all know, clinical pharmacy continues to be my passion. Excellent presentation, by the way. A lot of very good information. But what I wanted to ask, and I'm glad you brought up the issue of residency. That seems to be something that is being worked on right now. You know, I mean, kind of involved in that with the college and all that. But the question I have for you, could you please elaborate on how you feel clinical pharmacists can really, by the functions and the value that they bring to the pharmaceutical care, have an impact on the economy of the hospital? What specifically can clinical pharmacists bring to the table that has a direct impact on the pharmacoeconomics when you're talking about the hospital? Now, you mentioned something about the community pharmacy, the role the community pharmacists can play. I think that's well noted. And I think you mentioned referral to the doctors, to the physicians. Now, here in the United States, community pharmacists, by their clinical functions and their duties, help prevent readmission to the hospital, which has pharmacoeconomic implications. Now, when we look at in the acute care setting in the hospital, could you just share with me or with us what you think with all the clinical pharmacists' roles, rounding with the doctors, doing all these clinical pharmacy activities like antimicrobial stewardship, IV to PO conversion, the counseling, what impact does that have when it comes to pharmacoeconomics? And the reason why I'm saying this is that when you're talking about residency and you're trying to create residency in institutions, these are the information that we need to be using to talk to the key people that will help make that decision. In other words, what I'm getting at is, what is the value of clinical pharmacists? When you're looking at three major points: pharmacoeconomics, patient safety, we know that. And, you know, I just wonder, and I hope my question makes sense to you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Pan. I hear you. I think we will pick all the questions so that I can respond to them. Moderator, what part? What do you prefer? I answer each question as they come.
You can respond to that, sir. You can respond to it, sir.
Thank you so much. Dr. Pants, I appreciate you.
Okay, we have one more question. Let me, hello, sir.
Okay. I'm waiting.
I have one more person. Okay, and let me call
Okay.
the next person, please, sir. Yes, sir. Dr. Ejiro.
Mine is not actually a question, it's more of an answer, but to Dr. Pound's question. But I would prefer the presenter respond
Can you
first.
please unmute? Okay, let me see.
Let the presenter respond, not
Unmute
you.
yourself. You want Dr. Lulu just to respond to that?
Yes, I want the presenter to respond first.
Hello, Dr. Ibrahim. Dr. Lulu, please respond to Dr. Pounds.
Thank you, Ejiro. Like I said, I mean, Dr. Pounds' interest in pharmacy in Nigeria is well known, and it's a nice thing that we are working together. I understand your question. It's about value addition anyway, because it's one thing for us to be asking for this, asking for that. Yeah, can you hear me? I'm responding to Dr. Pound's question.
We can hear you.
Hello?
Loud and clear, sir. Please move on.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. First and foremost, the acceptance of the role of the clinical pharmacist will help to reduce prescription cost. Because if it is accepted, then there won't be mutual suspicion that I've written the prescription. What is your own looking into it? I had a chance meeting with Chief Medical Director of UCH once, and he told me that, look, left alone for him, he will want the pharmacist to vet the prescription, to vet the prescription. So if that role is accepted by our colleagues at the other side, and we are working together as one team. So the prescription is vetted not because the person who wrote it has not done the right job, but because there could be an alternative pathway, for this medication therapy that could reduce the burden, the cost, to the patient, and even to the hospital itself in terms of how much we're spending. In drug acquisition that has created another problem of institutional debt, which we are pursuing on the other side now. Then again, safety to the patient. I work on an aesthetic agent because I introduced one when I was working for Roche. And one of the things that we found out that a lot of death that occur in the theater may not necessarily be because of what the patient brought there. It might be, some of them were because of the anesthetic agent used. Hello?
Yes, continue,
Hello?
sir. Continue, sir.
Okay, there are voices. Of the anesthetic agent used, which if a clinical pharmacist is involved, the likelihood that such accident may occur can be reduced. So these are things that can be done within the system. Then again, the multitasking role of the clinical pharmacist, because don't forget, he's still the one in charge of the store, he's still the one in charge of procurement. And like we were discussing sometimes ago, that 68% of NHIS cost is actually related to drug. So if you want to reduce the cost burden, then you have to do something about drug. And I think the knowledge and skill of the pharmacist can help to do that if he's involved, if his services are recognized and is allowed to perform his role. Now you said that in the United States, community pharmacists actually help to prevent patient readmission. And that is good. And I'm sure that is happening even here in Nigeria. But the only thing is that service of the clinical pharmacist working in community pharmacy is not so recognized or not so accepted. And I believe that as we are pushing, for this recognition, because we need to maximize this skill and knowledge, it will happen that we can reduce hospital. There are some issues that do not have to go to the hospital, which can be handled by the clinical pharmacists at the community pharmacy level. It's been done right now, that's the truth. It's been done on a daily basis, but it is not recognized. And certainly it is not accepted. So if we move out of all these corners, all these stress junction, I think the clinical pharmacists skill and knowledge can be maximized. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good. Sir. Thank you for that. Yes, okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you to be on ground in Nigeria, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. I'll take the next question. Dr. Ejiro, can you unmute yourself?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay. Please, 1 minute.
I want to thank Dr. Lulu Oju for a wonderful presentation, and I'm very particularly thrilled with the categorization you gave. It's very crucial that we go through this presentation again and see how we can key into the ideas in the presentations. I just want to speak on the residency, which Dr. Fount already also briefly commented on. This is more like an appeal to Nigerian pharmacists. The college is working seriously on residency, but there is a trend that I want us to guard against, flowing from the spirit behind this presentation.
Let's go.
We want to reorganize our residency in Nigeria, but please, let's do it right. PharmD started 20 years down the line, and now it has gotten its recognition, as it were, officially. So the residency has also been something going on. Now we have decided to go the way of the United States. Some persons are suggesting let's do a quick program. I want to appeal to Nigerian pharmacists. Let's get it right. Let's go the whole length. However it is that we are adopting, just like we adopted PharmD, the 6-year program, let's adopt the residency properly and endure no matter how long it takes so that we get it right. Thank you very much.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Thank you.
Dr. Brian, can you mute people?
Hello? Hello?
Dr. Ibrahim, can you
no, Dr. Boyle.
I want to, Dr. Lulu Ojo, please.
Dr.
Yes,
Boyle.
I'm here.
Dr. Boyle, I want to put in my contribution.
Dr. Brian, please unmute.
No, they are
Dr. Boyle, hello.
You are free to unmute yourself now.
Dr. Ibrahim, please mute people.
Okay.
Hello.
Dr. Ibrahim.
As you mute them?
Yes, mute, please.
Everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Ibrahim should mute everyone and only the Dr. Motira.
Yes. We'll take all the contributions. We are going to take it. Dr. Lulu Ojo, please. Dr. Lulu Ojo. Okay, I was afraid that maybe you've been meeting.
I'm here.
You are the presenter.
No, I'm here,
now, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, sir. You are a candidate in the forthcoming PSM presidential election. I want you to tell us, what do you have for us in clinical manifesto? I want you to just talk briefly on it.
Thank you, Mutiat, for this. For this opportunity. Thank you so much. My dear colleagues, I'm here with this opportunity to let you know my interest in the PSM presidency and let you know that the presidency that I will run will be for a PSM that identify with are members, because I believe that the society exists because it has members. And a society that is not taking care of our members has lost its moral right to exist. So number one thing is that this society will serve you as pharmacists. We will know where you are, we will know what you are doing, and there will be a situation where you can say, if not for PSN, I may not have gotten this. This is what we are going to use the leverage of the PSN to serve you. Because what individual cannot do, a group can do it. And the PSN standardized group to do things that will run benefit for our members. We will redefine the profession with creativity and innovation. And this is part of the thing that we are talking about. We must, they say it's madness for you to continue to do things this way you have been doing it and expect that you will get different results. So with creativity and innovation, we will repackage our profession. We will redefine it in order for it to serve us the way we want it.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry, just 1 minute.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
There's a loss of light. Yeah. So why we do that? Okay. And the defining and changing this actually start from the cradle. And when I say cradle here, I'm talking about our colleagues in the hospital, our universities. We have to make the practitioners to feel too that they're pharmacists in terms of the practice that should and must be embedded in what they do as teachers. You know, they must feel that they are pharmacists too. They are the one producing the pharmacists because we want them to produce the best for us. So everything that relates to their work, to the compensation, the recognition, we identify with them so that they can feel that good. Then you say the recognition that we're asking for, I've said, will come from the basics, and that is research. We must contribute to the world body of knowledge. You know, imagine tomorrow that the solution to COVID-19, comes from Nigeria. Not about vaccine now. People can take drug from Nigeria that will clear the virus. Then people will know that pharmacists that are doing it. So we ensure that we provide the kind of funding and creating that environment that will make what our colleagues there do to be research friendly. The good thing is that I've done it before. As chairman of NAHIP, I instituted a research grant, even when they didn't ask me, even when I don't hold them. I instituted research grant because I believe we need to do things that will make us contribute to the world body of knowledge. They must have the appropriate tools for teaching so that they can enjoy their work. They can enjoy their work. The hospital pharmacy, we have done it. We have discussed it now. In 2009, I wrote a proposal to the then president of PSF. I wasn't an hospital pharmacist that time. I was still there practicing in the industry. But I know the recognition that we are looking for must be shown on our colleagues who are working in the public system, and we must work for them. That proposal is still with me, and we're going to use it to move on. We must get that recognition for them. We have been talking about residency. We have been talking about appropriateness and whatever. The community pharmacists, you have heard what Dr. Fan said. It must be turned into an healthcare center, because when we turn it to healthcare center, then we can actually add value. We can prevent people that do not need to go to the hospital for simple things. It can happen in there, but that recognition must be there. We must support them. We must support them so that they are not unnecessarily, because they are the ones that are keeping the legal rule, and they are the ones that get unnecessarily snoozed. So we, in terms of regulatory, we work with our regulatory body to ensure that our speed are working well. Then the industry, I'm there, and I know the challenge that we have. We need to localize our production.
Thank you, sir.
The fat not acceptable. We have 20% now. So we need to find a way to grow.
Thank you, sir. Your 5 minutes is up.
The amount of products that are coming from us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thanks.
Thank you for that. I continue with the questions, please. Dr. Dababoy. Please, ma, unmute. Unmute yourself, ma. Dr. Ibrahim, can you please help?
She can do it. She has been able to do that.
Okay, I want her to unmute herself.
Maybe she's not online.
She's not online. Okay. Professor Folabi, please, ma. Professor Folabi, ma.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma, we can, loud and clear.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I want to appreciate Dr. Ololuojo.
Good evening, ma.
Yeah, I appreciate Dr. Ololuojo for the stimulating lecture. I just want to chip in one or two words on the question by Dr. Pans with respect to what the clinical pharmacists are bringing to the table vis-a-vis their skills and the healthcare delivery in Nigeria. Yes, there's a need for us to push for recognition. And that has started with the credentialing and recognition in some states of the Federation. But then I'm actually coming from the angle of research. I'll take us back to our axiom. If it's not documented, it's not done. Yes, granted, we have been putting in some of our efforts with respect to bringing our skills to bear in our different practice settings. But I feel that people will get to know more of what we are doing if we document these activities, follow them through, and get them published. Personally, I've read quite a lot of the impact of clinical pharmacy in developed clients, simply because these activities were documented. So my suggestion, therefore, is this, that no matter how little the skill we are putting on the table right now is, I will advise us that we follow through on whatever intervention we are putting in as regards pharmaceutical care. I think we need to be consistent and not just do a hit and run thing. Like, for instance, if you are taking on a particular patient in a disease state, it will be gratifying to follow through with specific pharmaceutical care so that at the end of the day, we'll be able to say, this has been our impact, and this is the level of pharmacoeconomics and the gains we have been able to make to the institution or to the healthcare or to the health of the particular individual, maybe by avoiding readmission of the patient. So I think by documenting and publishing our activities, many more people will know, and other members of the healthcare team will care to know that with these objective things that we are doing, then of course we have something worthwhile to contribute. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma. Thank you very much, ma.
Excellent point.
It's very true. Once it's not, whatever is not documented is not done. Whatever is not documented is not done. I'll take the, do you have any response to that, presenter? I'll take the next question from Pharmacist Nwaze Joseph. Pharmacist Nwaze Joseph, is this still online?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening, everyone. Thanks to our presenter, Dr.
His hand has been up. Sorry.
Okay, can I go on?
Yes, you can go.
Okay, so I'd like to thank our presenter, Dr. Ololuojo.
Yes.
I also like to thank Sipan for this platform. I would like to comment on one of the items on the presentation, which was the roles of the clinical pharmacists. I think the first one on that list was assessing the patient's disease condition and ensuring that the medication is appropriate for the disease condition. In reality, however, I have practically seen where patients come to the pharmacy with prescriptions on pieces of paper, and you find out that it's difficult, or rather, the pharmacist cannot carry out the function of matching the disease conditions with the medications which are being dispensed. I have actually also been a victim of such, my mother in particular, and the woman would have lost some limbs, would have lost her limbs, if not she had me, her son, as a pharmacist. So I would like to ask, is there a way we can ensure that the standard that will make a baseline standard where across board, tertiary, primary, or secondary institutions ensure that patient folders get to the pharmacy so that the pharmacists can do their job? Because I find a lot of patients are dying because these folders do not get to the pharmacy and the pharmacists cannot do the job that they're supposed to do. So I would like to know, is there any how we can create a policy framework that ensures that across board we can have a standard where the pharmacists can get to do their job of assessment properly? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Hello. The presenter, please. While waiting for the presenter, I can say this. It's going to, though it's always work in progress, and one day we'll get there. But some of it may depend on us too. I've worked before in a clinic. Whereby you come into the pharmacy with your folders. I spoke with the doctor, though it's a small clinic, a government-owned clinic, a government house clinic, precisely, but we were able to arrange the government house clinic. But everybody comes into the pharmacy with your folder. Even the prescription is usually written in the folder. They don't come in with prescriptions. You dispense and sign it in the folder, then the patient takes it away. But that is because it's such a small setting. For us to get that done in a big hospital will take some legislation, but some of it could come from the pharmacists. We ourselves, we have to do lots of reaching out. Presenter, sorry, I'm not taking over your job. Please, you can comment on it, sir. Dr. Ludoju.
You have done well. You have done well because you have spoken my mind, really. First is a work in progress. I've worked in the hospital before. I know they do bring the file to us, but it is not a practice that's established, just like what Joseph was asking for. So let's take it as work in progress. I think the number one step is that acceptance. If it is accepted, then there will be nothing to hide again. There is no need to cover out anything or something like that. But for our colleagues in the community pharmacy, where the premises belong to you, or where the premises where you work, somebody bring a prescription. I have a community pharmacy. I stay in the dispensary. Yeah. So when they come, either with paper or they request for something, I walk in there. Do you want to speak to me? Or can we talk about this? What exactly is the issue? Why was this drug prescribed for you? And you know, we're in a system where we don't have, anybody can write prescription and just sign it. There is no way for you to know that this prescription is actually from somebody. The mere fact that it's written on a lawsuit or loot a paper does not guarantee that it's actually from there. So until we have those institutionalized things, I think it is right. It's responsibility. I've said it. We need to take responsibility as subject matter expert. In fact, I go to the extent of telling them that, look, whether you talk to me or you don't talk to me, the drug you bought, you have already paid for my salary. So why don't you take benefit of your salary and talk to me? And sometimes it works. They come, talk to you, and you can even say, hey, you may not need this, or you may need this or that. So let's take it as work in progress, but the opportunity that we have, let's maximize it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for that. I'm trying to see whose hand is up. Dr. Medubi, Dr. Madu, I saw you, but I think I will take your own with the closing remarks, if you don't mind. Dr. Medubi Fumilayo Grace, Ma, can you please unmute yourself?
Thank you. I've done that. Thank you very much. Good evening. Let me thank the presenter for the group presentation and for so many things that he has said. Concerning bringing the folder, I don't think we really need any legislation concerning that. We have to reach out, as you have said. It depends on your rapport with the physicians. When I was in the heart clinic for almost 13.5 years in UITH, I ensured that they bring in their folders, and they are still doing that. And you have to create a niche for yourself and also show them what you can do. When you relate together and they see the way you are doing your work, they will definitely assist. Even right now in NHS clinic, in UIT, they also bring their folder. I mentioned at the end of unit meeting and they are still bringing it. But you're surprised that some pharmacists, when they bring in the folder, they will not even look at it. When I got to the NHS clinic, I suppose there was sulfonic drugs, and I raised this that they should try and bring in their folder so that you know that this patient came in so days and they have collected such drugs. And they announced that my pharmacists were not looking. I said, how can you just tell the patient to take back the folder and just call the prescription? It's not only that you want to stop sulfonic drugs, but you want to look at some other things, the diagnosis, the doctor treating the patient very well and the rest. But now they are doing that, they are looking at it. So we need to create a rapport and show them what we can do. And when you discuss such an issue with them, you will see that they said they will know that you know what you are doing, and they will also accede to your request, and they will start bringing the folders. Thank you very much. Hello?
Hello. Hello. Sorry, do you leave me? I'm no longer.
Yes.
Hello. Dr. Brian?
Thank you. Yes, I heard that. Thank you, thank you for the contribution. It's quite good. You will recall that I said one of the skills that we need is influencing skill. We already have so much of legislation. I think we need to try that relationship management to build relationship. See, once people see that you are adding value, they won't be looking for you. They'll be looking for you. They'll be calling you. Now, so please check this thing, check this patient, and things like that. So thank you for that contribution. Hello.
Okay. I think we lost pharmacist materials due to network.
And Dr. Bello mute Dr. Monty Hart.
Oh, hello. Sorry, and I've been talking. Hello, sir. Yes, I was. Were you hearing me? I was commenting on that. I said they told us that in pharmaceutical care, that of course, as you are there as a clinical pharmacist, the pharmaceutical care is already there, the supply is there, but you have to create demand for it. So you don't wait for some things to be brought to you. You put your nose in it, that you merit it. So we have to try and move away from the four walls of the pharmacy and try and see some of these things. It's doable. It's not as if it's not something that is achievable there, and be consistent. Very to come and give his closing remark, make his comments, and use that one to now round up the old session. Dr. Madusa.
Sorry, you were trying. Good evening, everyone. Dr. Motihat, you are trying to allow Dr. Dababoy speak. I can still see her hand up. Can you give her a minute to say something?
Yes, we have called her. She was not there. Yes, she should. Hello, ma. You can unmute yourself, ma. Dr. Boyle. Dr. Blabama. We've called her before. I think they said she was not online again.
Let me speak. Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Motihat. I want to thank Dr.
What about Peter? What about Peter?
Peter will talk and give us the closing prayer.
Okay. Sorry, can you hear me very well?
We are hearing you, sir.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Once more, I want to thank Dr. Lolojo for honoring our invitation. I know I'm not giving closing remarks, but I want to also thank all the other professors again today. I can see Professor Folabi, Professor Cyril Lucifo, Professor Ray Ozolo, and the rest of them. And Lolojo has really spoken very well. He honored us, giving us a wonderful presentation in Japan. I'm very happy that almost all the presidential candidates are coming to talk on our platform. And as we said, Japan is the beautiful bride. Of course, clinical pharmacy should be recognized, and clinical pharmacy, leave it. Major thing these days is on patient focus. But then I would like to say that, like as I said last week when Professor Usifo was speaking, I know we shall be having Dr. Dan next week, and we shall also have Pharmacist Ayuba by the grace of God. No matter who wins in the oncoming election, I want them to take it as a family affair, because you may be the best candidate, but you may not win. But it's right, if you really love pharmacy, that you join hands with all your other colleagues and continue to move this profession forward. I want to tell Dr. Lolo Josa. Hello, can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, sir. In case you
I can hear you, my chairman and secretary combined.
Right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. In case you become the PSM president, please do not forget to carry Sipan along. Sipan has been working since year 2019. I must tell you that there is no particular day that any of us, myself, the secretary, and some other passionate members, there is no particular day that we don't give in at least 5 hours of our time just to make sure that everything is working well. I can see many of the pharmacists talking this evening. Some are talking about documentation. Some are talking about what the pharmacists will, like Professor Teresa Pounds was saying, what the pharmacists will be bringing on the table. All these things are things that have been on our mind. And I must remind you, sir, of the CPAM pool of experts. Definitely, if you become a PSM president, for instance, then PSN already has a lot of fun through CPAM pool of experts. You can imagine where you have people like Professor Femi Oyewo, sorry, Professor Chineke Babalola, Professor Wananga, and all these things. All these people, they are in CPAM pool of experts. And if you become PSM president, that can be used as your. Then I want to say something. Like somebody that was talking, people that were talking about documentation, I'm talking to clinical pharmacists. I'm happy we have a good number here. Even the PSN Deputy President Southeast with us this night. We are talking about, we are thinking, what do we do? How are we recognized? If you go to any patient folder, for instance, you find out that you can see a laboratory report, you can access it, you see the physician's report. But many pharmacists go into the ward and we ask, what did they go to do into the wards? These are the things that CPAN is fine-tuning to do. And we are already coming out with some documentation methods that are not bogus, that even this, the other healthcare professionals can easily access. So I want to congratulate you once more on your wonderful presentation, and I wish you well in your PSM presidential aspirations, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayama.
Thank you, thank you. Dr. Lolojo, any response to the chairman?
Yeah, very good, Dr. Madu. You know, we started initially and there was network issue. I was saying that one of the very good things that happened to pharmacy in recent time is the formation of the Clinical Pharmacist Association of Nigeria. And I thank God that I am a foundation member of that association. It is the way to go. I mean, we cannot sit down in our corners and be expecting people to come to us and recognize us. We need to add value. And a pathway to added value is this clinical pharmacy pathway. You know, rendering service, pharmaceutical care to people. Let people say it. Let them benefit from the knowledge and skill that we have. So I thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, since you became chairman of CPAN, I've practically lost you as the secretary of the research documentation and industrial liaison. But I know you are doing a good job, and thank you for it. We will support CPAN as president of the DSN. We will ensure that the work goes on very well. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And has been up. So I'll invite you to make your comments and you give us the closing prayer. Dr. Peter Alphonsus, please. Dr. Ibrahim, can you please unmute him?
Yes, he has been able to do that. Everybody's unable to unmute him.
Okay. So Dr. Alphonsus, is he still there?
It's likely he's on
comment
there.
and sir?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good evening all.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I've seen that we have all recognized all that is what being recognized, but I've seen a few captains of industry, pharmacists, Adepo of Reels is there, and a few others. We appreciate your presence here. Before I close, I had wanted to ask a very simple question, especially with respect to the community pharmacists. You know, like Dr. Lolo has done, he has done a wonderful presentation and he has given a lot of highlights. But there's something we haven't talked about, which is recognition of clinical pharmacy services at the community pharmacy level with respect to third party. By third party, I'm talking about maybe insurance company, NHIS and the likes. Now, a lot of patients in government sectors that patronize community pharmacy or private hospitals usually pay for those services. And at the end, people are able to, you know, remain in those careers and actually make substantial contributions, both professionally and financially. But for the community pharmacy, because our services are not recognized, it is difficult for now. I don't know if there's anything Dr. Lolo Joe is going to do with his wealth of experience if he becomes the chairman, so that pharmacists can actually get, you know, enlisted as care providers with respect to the services they provide at the community level, maybe injection, immunization, with and patient counseling, adherence counseling, and maybe minor ailments and the loss of the service we do. So I think that's one area that would actually be part of the value addition he's been talking about with respect to community pharmacy, because a lot of patients that go to community pharmacy may tell you they don't have money, or they work with the police, they already have an insurance with some hospitals and some medical doctors, but they don't have with you. And when you charge them, they tell you they don't have the money and you can't do anything about that. So that's just the question I want to put to him in case he has something to say. But I'm sure subsequently he could reply that, but not now since it's a closing time. So I'd like to close by asking everybody to just close our eyes for a short prayer. Heavenly Father, King of Glory, we thank you for coming to the end of this presentation. We thank you, Father, because this presentation has been eye-opening and a lot of information has been passed to us.
Stephanie.
We pray, Holy Father, King of Glory, that at the end of today, we'll go back home and meditate on all we have heard today, that is going to help to advance the course of pharmacy profession, is going to help to advance what we do in the hospital, the community, and other ways, and even contributions that have been made by co-contributors. We thank you, Father, King of Glory, because they are wonderful presentation. And we pray that CPAN is going to go from place to place, and whatever we do here, we're going to implement, and pharmacy profession is going to grow from the clinical pharmacy angle. We ask this prayer through the same Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all for participation.
Amen. Thank you all for showing up tonight. And thank
you.
you for filling up the Zoom room.
Thank you, Dr. Lolo, your best wishes.
You're a
Presenter,
wonderful
Dr. Lolo Joe,
moderator.
please.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Obaloluwa Jesu, thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Ibrahim, thank you for bailing
All
us
the
out.
props in the house. Thank you, sir Zamaz. We hope to see you again next
Professor Ray.
cheers. Best
Nice to
wishes.
know you around.
All right.
Yes,
Best
sir.
wishes.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Good
one.
Night. Dr.
Okay,
Boy,
good night,
Dr.
all.
Boy, thank you.
Good one, Dr. Lolu Ojo.
Eugene, thank you. My chairman. Famo Goodipe, I can see you.
Famo Goodipe, thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Roland, thank you for being around. Yes, obviously, everybody.